What's up? Did y'all get that right? But it says, which movie adaptation of Stephen King's books did he not like? And the answer was The Shining. And I'm gonna get into that in just a second. Hey everybody, what up? So if you are just joining us, or you're like, who is this lady? Look, my name is Keilani Harrelson. I am a filmmaker. Actually, I have one of my films on this very channel. Okay, it's called Funny Games. Why don't you go ahead and check that out? It's a mini movie. Okay, it's a short. So one day it will be developed into a full feature. But that is what I do. I've been a writer for as long as I've could write. Okay. I love to write, and I recently got into just making my own movies and telling my own stories. So this particular show is for us movie nerds who just love everything about the movies, who love to know like the behind the scenes, the fun facts, the little known facts, all of that. So if you are a movie head, this show is for you. It's called Top Five, and um the name of it is Talking Flicks with a Chick. I'm the chick. Okay, so what we do is, I'm gonna do it like twice a month because I have other things going on. So I'm just gonna do it like twice a month, and what it is we're gonna take like different topics. Like tonight is our top five Stephen King movies, and we're just gonna go through why they're our favorite. We're gonna give you some little known facts about some of the movies that we know, and we're gonna just have a good time. And I'm so excited because my first guest on the show premiere, is a good brother. I met him in our filmmaking course workshop, and like me, him, and a few other people, we just really vibed. And he actually was the cinematographer or DP for Fun and Games, and he was also the editor and the colorist. So, without further ado, I want to introduce my brother Alex. Hey,
Hey,
Alex.
hey, Kay, how you doing?
Good, and you?
Doing well. All is well. Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Good, good. Just just tell the people a little bit about yourself, if you
Yeah,
will.
my name is Alexander Vaught III. I absolutely love film. I'm really into art and film, so I do sketch art, but I have loved film like all my life. I love the mechanics of it. A lot of the behind the scenes, like you were saying. I love to know who the director is so that I can cross
Mhm.
reference other projects. I love reading about the actors and the work that they do, and I love the craft of filmmaking. So this is a real treat because the topic that we're talking about tonight specifically centers around the master of horror,
Yes,
and that's one of my favorite genres. So
yes.
yeah, so film is just it's a great medium to really get messages out, tell good stories, showcase really good talent, be it behind the scenes or in front of the camera, and that is absolutely why I love the art of film. And so yeah, I really appreciate you having me on tonight.
Oh, no problem. I had to get you. I was like, Alex had to be my first guest.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, so let me ask you: did you get the quiz right at the top of the show?
Yes, yep. I
All
knew
right.
exactly. Yeah, I knew that one. It's not surprising because I know that The Shining, and we can talk about it whenever you're ready. But it didn't stick directly with the book. But what Kubrick did was magic. So
He's one of the best,
yeah.
one of the best. Because well, we get into it because
Uh,
it may or may not be on the list. I don't know.
yeah. We'll see. We'll
We'll
see.
see. We'll
Yeah.
see. Okay. Okay, y'all. So, how we're going to start this is we are going to alternate our top five, but we're going to go from five to one. Okay. So, the guest is always going to go first on this show. And we just going to, I just want to say my list might shock some people. It kind of shocked me because I
Yeah.
was teetering on my fifth one. It was a toss up, but
Yeah.
we'll get into that. So
Yeah.
go ahead, Alex, kick us off.
All right. So my number five is going to be The Mist. 2007's The Mist
Mm,
with Thomas Jane and Marcia Gay Harden. So it's directed by Frank Darabont, and the synopsis is it's a thick fog descends upon a rural community, killing anyone caught outside of it. Right. And so
uh-huh.
survivors seek refuge in a local store, and they're trapped in like a darkened cloud of like just pure terror. It's bananas. And the frightened denizens of the town must fend off like murderous monsters. So the film, to me, it really, the monsters aren't the problem. What the film to me is what we become when confined and we lose all hope. That becomes the real terror.
Mm,
And the showstopper, the actress that stole the show was Marcia Gay Harden, because she's
yeah.
like a religious fanatic, and she
Yeah.
really causes a lot of problems in that store. And that to me becomes the psychological terror, because she's like, we're all doomed, and if you sinned, you're going to hell. This is our,
Right, right.
you know, this is the end. And so I'm like, wow, this is, if I was stuck in a store and somebody was carrying on like that, and then they create all of this division and confusion, that to me was the real terror. Like I couldn't even be worried about what was going on outside.
Right.
We're trapped in here with people that are losing it. And so
Yes, they were losing it.
the film was magic, but the reason why it is one of my favorites of his work is because the ending is it's one of the hardest endings in film history to me. And so anybody that sees it, that ending is gonna mess with you. So that's why that's on my list. So that's number five.
Okay, The Mist. Okay, The
Yeah.
Mist. I remember that's one I haven't gone back to, a couple of times. It
Yeah.
might be like one of those sleepers, like you might
Yes.
appreciate it a little bit more as time goes
Yes.
on. But I do
Yeah.
remember The Mist, and they were like Stephen King like really like to set a lot of his books and stories in like the New England area,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With a constable and everything.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very common, But I like it. I like the film because I do like Thomas Jane. I absolutely love Marcia Gay Harden.
She's
She never
good.
disappoints. Yeah,
Hmm.
and so they carry the film on their back. It does fall into some typical horror type stuff, jump scares and things. But like I said, the psychological aspect of it is what really, if you sit and allow yourself to really think about it and put yourself in this scenario, it's really terrifying. So yeah.
Yeah. And if y'all haven't seen The Mist, I'm sure it's streaming somewhere.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I do have like the ones I'm going to talk about. I think I have where you can stream it if you guys haven't seen it. And let us just say this, y'all. Okay. It's going to be some spoilers. So if you guys haven't seen them by now, come on now.
Yeah, some of these are old. Yeah, some of these are really
Oh,
old. Yeah.
yes. Because you
Yeah.
know how some people, oh, I didn't see that yet. Don't tell. You had 20 years to see this.
Right, right. Yeah. It's let me see. It's streaming on Hulu. So it's on
It is?
Hulu,
Okay.
and it's on Tubi also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to have to check that out again.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all. My number five. This is the one that's like, girl, what?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me just set this up. So my number five is my number five. Again, I was going back and forth between this one and it.
Mhm.
Um, do I think that it is a better film? Absolutely.
Mhm.
But this film to me, number one, it stars one of my favorite actors in the world. Okay. And I love the little twist at the end. Okay. So without further ado, my fifth one is Secret Window.
Oh wow. That is a shock. That's a good call though.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. So what aspects of it really capture you?
Okay. So before I get into that, if for those of you who have not seen Secret Window, it is streaming on Pluto. That's like a free app. So the synopsis is while in the process of an ugly divorce from his wife, Maria Bello, writer Mort Rainey, Johnny Depp, that's why, okay,
I got you. I got you.
relocates to his remote cabin in upstate New York for solitude. Attempting to recover his mental health, Rainey has the misfortune of being found by John Shooter, who is played by John Turturro. Excellent.
Oh yeah, yeah,
A farmer who claims Rainey plagiarized his work. At first, Rainey ignores the accusations, but Shooter has no intentions of quietly disappearing. It says soon Shooter becomes increasingly vicious in his quest for retribution. So, Secret Window, again, it stars one of my favorites, Johnny Depp, and I picked this because of his performance.
yeah,
His performance in Secret Window was I was like, okay, Johnny, because I haven't seen him act like that before.
okay,
One thing about Johnny Depp, he can play. His range is just all over. Is
yeah.
wide, and I
He's very
love it.
versatile. Yes.
Very versatile. And John Turturro was in here again as Shooter,
Hmm.
and I loved it because again I love a good psychological thriller with a twist,
Yeah,
especially when I didn't see it coming. I
yeah,
was not expecting that.
yeah,
I wasn't expecting the ending at all. Spoiler alert: he imagined the other guy, so he he imagined John Turturro's character,
yeah.
because John Turturro's character, came to him, was like, you stole my story.
Right.
And ironically his name was Shooter, shoot her. It
Yeah,
was just a lot of um it was a lot that was going on,
yeah,
good and bad.
yeah.
But the it was directed by David Cope.
Hmm.
He actually wrote it. It's taken from a Stephen King novella,
Uh,
The Secret Garden, Secret Window, something
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
And I loved it.
yeah,
And I because at that time I was going back and forth. I was watching it like a lot. Like
yeah,
with it, I don't really go back and with the rewatch value for me, I don't watch it a lot.
yeah,
But Secret Window, because I've watched it numerous of times,
yeah,
gaining new insights. And I love how the director, how David, like in that opening sequence, how when Johnny Depp was laying on the couch, we see it's a mirror, and then we go inside the mirror.
yes, yes,
Ah,
yes,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah. That kind of directing always appeals to me because it's very creative, and you really are allowing the camera to tell the story and really bring the audience into the film. So
mhm.
I love when they do that. I love when a director does that.
Yep. Even though a lot he was getting a lot of flack, they was like, you're a better writer than director. I was like, well,
Uh,
ouch.
yeah, yeah. You're always gonna have
But
your critics. I mean,
you always gonna have your critics. You
yeah,
always. But yeah, I really love Secret Window. You had, Charles S. Dutton was in it.
yes, yeah. He's classic.
Um Timothy, was it Dalton? His name Dalton?
Timothy Dalton, yes.
Dutton or something like that. Timothy, yeah.
Timothy Dutton, I think it is. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
And but yeah, Secret Window is, if you have not even heard of that one, again, it's playing on streaming on Pluto, and that's a free app you can get, like if you have Fire Stick or Roku or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
All
I got
right,
to rewatch
Alex.
that one. Yeah, I got to rewatch that one.
Yeah, what's your number 4?
Okay, number 4 is going to be Carrie, 1976,
Mm,
starring Sissy Spacek and Piper Laurie, and it is directed by Mr. Brian De Palma. So this is, I mean, we all know the story, and it's been remade a few times, but
yes.
nothing beats the original for me.
No.
It's about Carrie White, a shy, friendless teenage girl who is sheltered by her domineering religious mother, who unleashes her telekinetic powers after being humiliated by her classmates at her senior prom. This is a very powerful story in the way that it was directed, and particularly the way that it was acted out. I think Spacek really stole the show. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and, Piper Laurie was, again, it's another character like with The Mist. I don't know if this is because of my religious upbringing, but characters that are like religious fanatics in horror films, and then even religious horror, it always captures my attention because I think about who wrote the film and then how they put that character in there, and then when it's executed a certain way, I'm like, wow, this is magic. So Piper Laurie was phenomenal as the religious mother who was
She
a Vanessa.
was. Oh,
She was absolutely,
she did
she
her
was
thing.
terrifying. Yeah, she was terrifying. She really added to the element of horror and mystique about the film. And the film really pulls you into the experience of Sissy Spacek's character. So the bulk of the film is really just a typical bully film, typical outcast film. But as we all know, the final sequence is unparalleled. And the remakes, while they all made the attempts, they never captured that final sequence the way that De Palma did
They did
with
not.
Sissy Spacek, because
Mm-hmm.
nobody has the eyes
Alex.
that Sissy Spacek
Oh,
has when she
you went
snaps.
out just a little bit.
Okay, am I still there?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm good.
yeah. You good now?
Okay, so nobody has the eyes that Sissy Spacek has at the end when she snaps. I mean, that is the most terrifying scene in the film, and it's just absolute cinematic magic. So I
Mm,
did enjoy the version with Chloe Grace Moretz. I thought that was okay,
okay.
but
That was the third remake, right?
oh my goodness, let me see.
Because it was like two. It was two remakes.
It was
'Cause
two remakes.
unfortunately, I saw both of them.
Same
But
here. Yeah, that was the third remake with Chloe
yeah,
Grace Moretz. And I mean, granted, we don't really need these remakes, but I think Chloe Grace did okay, but nobody will ever
yeah.
be Sissy Spacek. So for
Heck
me,
no.
yeah, that film was I've watched that several times and I've enjoyed it equally every time because it's out of sight, man. It's really crazy. So
Yes, it's on my list too. I'm not gonna say
yeah,
which
awesome.
one yet, but it is on my
Okay,
list.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, I loved it. That's a good horror film. I mean, it really because it's psychological and
Yeah.
we see what drives her to her final breaking point.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, so yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It was he did and that was his first one, I believe,
I believe so. Yes,
that
Brian.
was made into a movie.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Stephen King. That was his first
Yeah.
one. Yes, yes,
Yeah. That was his first one, and yeah, they knocked it out the park.
yeah,
They
yeah.
knocked it
I
out the
agree.
park.
I
Yeah.
agree. It's an unforgettable performance and just a classic film.
Yeah. You had what? John Travolta was in there. I mean,
Yes,
when I went back and watched it, like some years ago. I've seen it numerous of times, but
same.
I was like, "Oh, that's John," and it was somebody else I recognized too.
Yeah,
But yeah, and I'll speak more on it
yeah, yeah.
when I get yeah.
Mm. Awesome, awesome.
All right.
So your number four.
So my number four is one of my all time favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I really love this film. I had to watch it again today. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Yep, it's still yeah, it's still up there with me for me." And it's Stand by Me.
Oh yeah, that is a classic. Beautifully
Hmm.
done film. Yeah, beautifully done.
Yes, it was Stand By Me. The synopsis is after learning that a stranger has been accidentally killed near their rural homes, four Oregon boys decide to go see the body.
Mm-hmm.
On the way, Gordy, Vern, Chris, and Teddy encounter a mean junk man and marsh full of leeches as they also learn more about one another in and their very different home lives. Just a lark at first, the boys' adventure evolves into a defining event in their lives. So, Stand By Me was released in '86. It
Mm-hmm.
was Rob Reiner's. It catapulted him. So he was fairly new as a director. What he was
Yeah.
like really known for around that time was being in All in the Family,
Yes.
and
Yep.
and his father, of course, Carl, it was a he wanted to get up out of his shadow. So,
Yeah.
but it was taken from another novella with Stephen King's
Nice.
called The Body.
Nice.
Um, it was nominated for an Oscar. You have, oh my gosh, you talking about the star power.
It's a heavyweight cast. It really
Oh, it's
is.
a heavyweight
Yeah.
cast, and I was little when I saw this. well,
Yeah.
86. So I was 9. I was
Yeah.
about to be 10 later on in the year. So watching this as a child,
Yeah.
of course I loved it. It's a good coming of age
Exactly.
story. And you have what Kiefer Sutherland was in it as the main protagonist. I mean,
Yes.
antagonist. I'm sorry, he was not nothing pro. He
Yes.
was the antagonist.
Right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Leader
Definitely.
of a punk teenage kid, gang.
Yeah.
You had a young John Cusack who was Denny. He
Yeah.
was Will Wheaton who played Gordy, his brother, his deceased brother. So I liked it. The story structure was on point.
Yes. Beautifully done film.
Cause beautifully done film. Cause you had the main plot, and then you had these other subplots, within the film. So
Yeah.
you had Gordy, who, because of his brother passed, his older brother passed.
Yeah.
Um, his father, saying, well, he dreamt that his father said it should have been you, but that was the type of energy that he was getting from his father, though.
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
So he had that issue. He was the writer of the group. He was the quote unquote the smart one. River Phoenix.
Yeah.
I loved me some River Phoenix back in the
Yeah.
day.
He was a great actor. Yeah. He really was. Yeah.
And okay, and they did all of them. They did their acting skills were great. River,
Yeah.
um, Will Wheaton, Jerry O'Connell, and of course Corey Feldman.
Yes.
Those kids played those parts.
And they were just kids, and we've grown up with them.
We've grown up with them,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And I haven't seen a bunch of an ensemble of kids that can really carry a movie and act that way.
Yeah.
But recently I was like, oh, the Stranger Kids, the Stranger Thing kids
Yeah.
reminds me of that group
Stand
because
by me. Yeah.
they can carry it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stand By Me. Oh, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Classic.
It's a classic, and it's streaming on Netflix if you guys want to see that. Okay,
Awesome.
so in between our countdowns, y'all, I'm always gonna have like little fun facts regarding whatever subject that we're talking about. So we're talking about Stephen King. So I have fun fact number one. Did you know? So this is the Stephen King edition of Did You Know? Did you know that Stephen King has a phobia?
I did
Can you
not.
guess which phobia he has?
I did not know this one. Yeah, I don't know. Like, is he scared of horror films?
No, no, he's actually scared of the. I'm sure not gonna. This is a really a name brand phobia.
Yeah.
It's very long. I said, oh, I am not going to say that,
Yeah.
but in a nutshell, it's he's scared. He has a phobia of the number 13.
Really, that is
Yeah,
odd. That is
yeah,
really weird. Wow, I never
yeah.
heard that one.
All
So
right.
but the actual diagnosis is it's a long word. It's hard for
Oh,
people.
it's a. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
Yeah.
it's so long. The only
Yeah.
word that I can pronounce is at the end is phobia.
Right. Gotcha. That's hilarious.
All right, Alex, your turn. What's
All
this
right.
number
So,
3?
yeah, my number three is going to be Salem's Lot from 1979, um,
Oh,
starring David Soul and
the
James Mason.
original.
Yeah, the original. It's to me. I mean, I saw it as a child, and it's still as scary now as it was then. It was directed by Toby Hooper, and it's about a novelist and a young horror fan who attempt to save a small New England town which has been invaded by vampires. Now, the reason why this film is so absolutely terrifying. Now, it was presented as a mini series back in '79, so it's a
Mm.
two-part series. But the thing is, it was pretty much a 3-hour film. You can
Mm.
sit and watch it in 3 hours. But the creep factor and then the level of just doom that descends upon this town is executed extraordinarily well. Because you have this it's sort of a hopeless darkness that just looms over the town during the entire film. I think David Soul of Starsky and Hutch fame, he carries the film on his back quite well. James Mason
Mm.
James Mason is extraordinary in his role. But really what really makes it outstanding for me is a lot of your vampire films are romanticized. So the vampire is always
Yeah.
kind of smooth, slick talking, he mesmerizes you and then, bites you in your neck. But Barlow, the Barlow character, which is the Nosferatu type of a vampire, he's kind of the hissing, growling vampire, which to me is even more scary because it really shows us that and reminds us that Dracula and vampire is really a monster. It's not
Yeah.
this smooth
Right.
talking,
So right.
soft.
He's not this like what the Twilight, even though I'm a
Yeah,
Twilight, the
yeah.
glittery skin,
Right,
you know.
right. He's not that. He's really a monster, and
Yeah.
so that is captured quite well in Salem's Lot, and the curse that is on the town is captured well. And what really makes it scary is if you're a kid, you see other kids being turned into vampires in the film, and it's an unforgettable production. I think that the execution is spot on. I'm not sure how close it stayed with the writing, with Stephen King's writing, but
Hmm.
I think he did have a part in the screenplay. But it's been a couple of remakes that are absolutely forgettable. Um, Absolutely, like the one that just came out. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but see this one first before you spend time on the remake that literally just came out. I think a week ago on.
Oh, okay.
I think it's on HBO Max. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So and it took a while for them to get this out, but this remake, but I would say see this one first before you see that one because this one is by and far, if you're into really really good classic horror, this 79 version is going to do it for you. It'd be hard to sit and watch it at home alone because it's really that good. And they're not taking their time and making films like this anymore, where you take time with the writing and the
Mm.
script and the screenplay and the directing, and it all meshes quite well. And it's a slow burn. You take your time with it, and you see how the creep factor constantly arises in it. I think it's a really good Halloween watch if you really want to see a good
Okay.
classic horror film. Yeah.
That's good. I've only seen it once,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I want to go back to it.
Check it
You
out.
said so the original is streaming on Max or the
Yes,
remake?
the original is on Max also because
Okay.
they're trying to promote the remake,
Yeah, yeah.
so they want to give you a taste of the old stuff. But that's a
Okay.
mistake to me because trust me, the old one is the 79 version is the one that you want to see. It's genuinely a good, genuine horror film, like just in
Mm.
its essence. Definitely check it out. You just take your time with it, get your favorite snack, kick back, get your blanket, and that's the one you want to see if you want to see a good horror film.
I
Yep.
don't know. I might see that tonight. See, I,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like I like being, lights off and
Yes.
by myself. I
Yeah.
could do that watching a horror film,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And Dave.
that's my type of vibe.
Yeah. David Soul literally he just passed like earlier this year.
Mm,
The Starsky and Hutch actor. He just passed. So he was really
mm.
good in this film. He really carries it on his back. James Mason he passed back in like '84, but he's good as the creepy guy that kind of ushers the vampire into the town. He's great as
Okay.
that character. So yeah. So okay, what's your number three?
Oh, my number three is one of my favorites.
All right.
You dirty birdie. Misery. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love,
Yes.
love, 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 love
Oh my
misery.
goodness, man! That put Kathy Bates on the map, and
Yes, it
it
did.
should have. I mean, that was a monster of a film.
So the synopsis for that one is after a serious car crash, novelist Paul Sheldon, James Caan, is rescued by former nurse Annie Wilkes, which is played by Kathy Bates, who claims to be his biggest fan. Annie brings him to her remote cabin to recover, where her obsession takes a dark turn when she discovers Sheldon is killing off her favorite character from his novels. As Sheldon devises a plan to escape, Annie grows increasingly controlling, even violent, as she faces the author to shape his writing to suit her twisted fantasies. And that's again directed by the great Rob Reiner.
Man,
And that came out in 90. And I remember
yeah,
seeing that as a child in 90
yeah.
at the Detroit Renaissance
Oh
movie
wow.
theater.
Yeah, I remember the Renaissance Theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time. Wow.
Yep. It was myself, my mother, my brother, because my mom always took us to movies on opening weekend, Friday nights or Saturdays.
Yes.
And I fell in love with Misery.
Yeah.
Oh man, where should I start?
Right. Yeah. This is a good
uh,
one.
it's Misery. Kathy Bates.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kathy Bates, because we didn't I didn't see her, of course, and I was young too, so
Yeah.
I didn't,
Yeah.
like 13, I believe, in
Yeah.
90.
Yeah.
And of course, James Caan.
James Caan. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
he's wonderful.
Yes.
He's a phenomenal actor,
Yes.
and he did his thing in Paul as Paul Sheldon. And again, Kathy Bates was the star.
Yeah.
Did she
She's a
get an
heavy hitter.
Oscar for that?
I do believe so. I think
Yeah,
I remember when she
yeah,
got
I
that
think she
Oscar.
got the Oscar for that.
Yes. Yes.
Well deserved.
Very
Okay.
much so. If you put yourself in his situation, I mean, my goodness, that's a horror film.
That's a horror film.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people have seen Misery, but if you have not, or if it's been a minute, it's streaming on Max right
Hmm.
now.
Yeah.
So yeah, Misery. My brother and I, we used to always, it's a lot of one liners. Like we used to always say, "You dirty birdie," and
Yeah.
I'm your number one fan. Just
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah.
the storyline, just everything, the
Yeah.
even the cinematography.
Yes. Yes.
Um, I'm glad that they used like real snow. You
Yeah.
can hear the crunch. It was just the vibe that it gave
Yeah.
off. It was like,
Yeah.
ooh, and the infamous hitting him with the club in his foot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's a
think
classic scene, and you could feel it.
you can
You
feel
know.
that thing. We all in the theater. We was like, oh my god.
Yes, you could feel it. The sound editing there. I mean, you could
Yes.
hear and feel everything. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. So Misery is definitely I watch Misery at least once a year.
Yeah, that's an excellent film. It really
Yeah,
is.
it is.
Yeah,
Yep.
flawless. She
Yep.
carries it.
She carries it. All right, Alex. On
All right.
you.
Yep. So
Number two.
my number two is going to be Doctor Sleep from 2019, starring Ewan McGregor and Rebecca Ferguson, and it's directed by Mike Flanagan. And so this takes place several years after The Shining, 1980s. The
Mm-hmm.
Shining. Danny Torrance is now an adult, and he's trying to protect a young girl with similar powers to his from a cult known as the True Knot, who prey on children with powers to remain immortal. Now, I'm going to say that this film was an absolute masterpiece, simply because to take the material from The Shining and bring it to this film in such a seamless way was very well executed. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
great.
It was well executed. It was.
Yeah, I always like Ewan McGregor. He doesn't make bad choices in his
He
films.
doesn't.
And, yeah, and the subject matter, it may be hard for some because it is regarding abduction of kids and abuse. I think that's probably one of the levels of horror in this film. But the ending sequence that pays homage to The Shining, the meticulous detail to the hotel from the original, because I think they
Mm-hmm.
rebuilt the set. They had to
Mm-hmm.
rebuild it. I mean, the level of attention and the beautiful cinematography, the writing, the directing, I think it
Yeah.
all meshed together quite well to bring this the Shining story into the current times. I absolutely love that film. Thought it was done well. I could watch it anytime. So it's really done well.
Okay, I might have to run that back because I saw
Yeah,
it once and it was good. I remember it being good. Like you
yeah,
said, Ewan, he doesn't miss.
yeah. He does not miss. I think that one is on Prime, if I believe,
It's on
because they
Prime.
yeah
Okay.
because they have the director's cut. They have the theatrical release and then the director's cut. Now the theatrical release is already like 2.5 hours, but then the director's cut is pushing you almost to like three. So you got to take some time with it. But they add a lot of good stuff in there, and
Okay.
it's really a good watch. I mean, especially if you're a fan of The Shining, and then that work, this really pays homage to it very well.
Funny you should say that because my number two is The Shining.
Beautiful, beautiful. I
um,
mean, So The Shining has to be on everybody's top five list.
Yeah, hello.
It has to
Yeah.
be. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, my number two is The Shining. I saw that. I was like, 'cause us, okay, us Gen X, we
yeah,
are some tough people because we
yeah,
were watching. I'm 6, 7, watching horror movies,
yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
and I
exactly.
saw it as a child.
Yeah,
It came out in 1980,
yeah,
and it is streaming on Max now.
yes,
Again, we were talking about Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick, just uh, right. I love the look of this movie.
yes, yes.
Um, and I kind of that like that yellow
Yeah, it's a tinge of color. Yeah, yeah,
yes, that yellow the color grading.
yeah,
I kind of like mirror that into fun and games
yeah, yeah,
because we know that a lot of like film theory, if you will,
yeah,
different colors, of course, represents different things.
yeah,
So like the color yellow represents like craziness,
yeah, yeah,
that type of thing.
yeah,
And Jack Nicholson, hello.
yeah. Exactly. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you. Yeah.
Man, oh my God, the way that oh,
Yeah.
I'm speechless because Jack Nicholson, he is like he's one of the best.
Yeah.
And the way that he portrayed Johnny,
Hmm.
he was kind of an ass.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big
He
time.
was
Easy.
big
Easy.
time.
Yeah.
You could tell that Danny was, scared of him even before he started going crazy,
Yeah.
over there at the Overlook
Yeah.
hotel. And oh man, especially, what really got me, like I've seen it so many times, and
Yeah.
I know for some, now that's a slow burn.
It is. It is. It's slow. It
It's a
is.
slow burn,
Yeah.
but the payoff is worth it.
It really is.
The
I agree.
payoff is worth it. But yeah, The Shining is absolutely one of my favorite all time Stephen King books turned into movies,
Yeah.
hands down. And I was when I learned that he wasn't fond of it, I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because remember the one, it was like a TV version. Remember with
Yeah.
the guy from Wings?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
forget his name,
I've
but
never seen that one. Yeah.
I saw that one.
Yeah.
But and Stephen King, I think he had a hand in it. He was like, this is what he wanted the
Oh.
movie because it was going, I guess, more so by the book.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Stanley, come on, because Stanley Kubrick was not only was a a director,
Hmm.
he was a photographer too. So that makes sense of
It
how the
does.
movie looks.
Yes. It's shot beautifully. It
It's
really is.
shot beautifully.
Even by today's standards, it is shot beautifully.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's definitely one of those films that gets studied. When you're going into the film industry,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Uh, Oh, I had a fun fact.
All right.
But my goodness, I can't even. I We can get into it later. Here it is. Okay, because I'm like, Lord, where is it? Okay, so fun fact number two.
Hmm.
Did you know Stephen King's writing style? His writing style, he uses a combination of letters, magazine articles, news clippings, and passages from books to create realism in his novels.
Oh wow.
He also creates characters this is what I like, with flawed but human traits that readers can immediately sympathize with. And I think that's really important as a
Yeah,
writer.
I agree.
It should your characters should not be perfect.
Right.
They should
Right.
not be cookie cutter. They should have some type of flaws because you do want them to be relatable.
Definitely, your characters need to mimic the human condition in its reality. You don't want cartoon cookie cutter characters. You want, like you said, characters that people can relate to.
That's
Definitely,
right.
yeah.
All right, Alex, what's your number one?
All right, so your number two. I reserved my commentary because that's my number one. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, as far as horror films go, this is even outside of Stephen King. For me, The Shining is probably my top three. Is as far as horror films.
Yes.
So when you think about, like you said, him being a photographer, the cinematography alone is absolutely masterful. From the opening sequences of
Yes.
the aerial shots of the countryside when they're driving up to the overlook, all these little different elements that allow you to piece together this feeling of overwhelming loneliness that you're about to embark upon.
Yes.
Because Shelley Duvall's
Coldness.
character, yeah,
Coldness.
it's cold, it's lonely. Shelley Duvall's character is, you're taking on her journey, which is absolutely terrifying. It's absolutely bananas for anybody, but particularly a wife with a young child
Yes.
in this level of isolation as you watch your husband fall into a deep, dark descent of madness and possession. I think that Kubrick, while I know Stephen King, he really didn't enjoy the way that it was depicted. Kubrick's mind is just, it's on another planet with this film.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
He was ahead of his time, like
he,
Hitchcock.
he really was. He was ahead of his time. You know, even though I understand working with him was a real chore. I mean, it really, this guy would do like 100 takes of a scene, you know. And a little known fact is, uh, Stanley Kubrick and Jack Nicholson absolutely terrorized Shelley Duvall on the set. I mean, really derailed her career because they really was like borderline abuse, and because he was trying to really get that
He
real
was
real feel.
method acting.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted to get that real feel of terror, and it translates very well from
It
her
does.
performance, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
they literally abused her and tortured her on set to get her in the mind of the role. And like you said, Jack Nicholson is absolutely bananas. I'm like, this guy's not even acting. This is like, this felt real. I'm like, this is too real.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, here's Johnny, you know,
Oh, that's
so
iconic. That's
iconic.
iconic.
I mean, that's a t-shirt, you know. And so when you look at Danny, and so if you see this when you're a kid and you're in Danny's shoes, you're like, this is absolutely terrifying. And as
Right. And
we,
you're seeing ghosts.
yeah, you're seeing ghosts. I mean, you're seeing elevators full of blood. I mean, you're seeing, you know, and
The
just the
creepy
level,
twins.
the twins. And so but Kay, the absolute terror of this film is the hopeless loneliness that you feel when in this level of isolation. And it's like
Yes.
she's in an unfamiliar situation. She's dependent on her husband, who's a writer that's descending into madness. I mean, that to me alone, when you talk about psychological torment and terror, that's, you know, and then the visions that, you know, they start to see the old lady coming out of the bathtub. I mean,
Yes.
that stuff is terrifying. And so that's another one. If you're gonna sit and watch a film, because I love the slow burns, I have the patience for it. I sit and watch
Same.
the stuff, yeah, and I
Yeah. It
study.
just got to be a good payoff, though.
Exactly, I agree. I agree. But I sit and study this stuff because it's like these guys are telling a story, and you want to get those little Easter eggs and those little things, little nuanced things that make us human in these films, you know. And so I think that's the beauty of The Shining, is that it's absolute terror, but it takes the human condition and it puts it in its most vulnerable state. When you're dealing with the supernatural, you're dealing with elements of loneliness, darkness, and just all out hopelessness. I think this film nailed it on a masterful level.
It did. And I just want to piggyback on the whole feeling
Yeah.
of the isolation. And it's
Yes.
everybody was isolated. You
Yes.
had Johnny, he felt some sort of, isolation
Yes.
because, he had to come up with, with, like you said, with writing this book,
Yeah.
and,
Exactly.
that's something that he has to do for himself. Nobody else
Yes.
can help him with that. And,
Exactly.
and then
Yeah.
you have, his wife, she feels, some form of isolation from her husband,
Yes. Exactly.
because he's trying to do this. He's not even
Yeah.
like paying attention to her or
Right.
anything. And then, he slowly, cabin fever sets in.
Oh
And
my
then you
goodness.
have Danny, who's isolated. He's the only child,
Yes.
in this big old hotel, so it's isolation
Massive.
is the running theme in that
It
movie.
is. Yeah. Yeah. It becomes its own character and its own monster
Yeah.
in the film, and it really helps you when you watch these films, because I tend to watch films, Kay, and I'll put myself in the character's position, and that's what really makes you buy in. You know, if you can buy into that character's experience, then you can say, okay, I can watch this and take me on this journey and let me see what's going to happen. But like you said, it has to be a payoff, it has to be good writing,
Yeah.
but and good directing. But when you follow that character, and then say if you want to follow Jack Nicholson's character into his descent of madness, and
Yeah.
you see like, wow, this is pretty terrifying to be just taking over that, in that way, and then the ladies can definitely relate to Shelley Duvall, just absolutely being terrorized through the entire film, and then children can relate to little Danny, rolling
Hmm.
around in his big wheel around these giant hotel
Right.
hallways, and just trying to figure out what's going on in his head, because he's seeing visions, and he actually has what is called and what we come to know as the Shining, and where he can
Yeah.
see in the
Yes.
future and in the past, and he's haunted and tormented by a ghost. So the film is just layered. It's a lot. I mean, you can literally spend this whole session just talking about The Shining and what it did for
Right.
the horror genre, and what Kubrick, what he brought with that. Because I understand, like, Stephen King didn't like it, and we, because his mind is different from Kubrick. But what
Yeah.
that director did with that film is it's a classic. It really
It's
is.
it's a work. It's a work of art.
It is. It
It's
really
a
is.
it's a work of art.
Yeah.
And again, I love like because like we were saying, even the colors though, the colors tell a
Yes.
story.
Oh
You
man,
know, it's
they
it's
do.
muted, it's on the
Yeah.
the, the, the grainy, the dull side,
Mm.
even though you had your reds and your yellows and stuff, but it was still and of course, that 70s feel,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That
too. So
era. Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
I might have to watch that one tonight. Either that one or Doctor Sleep. I could watch one of those easily, because they really get you in the mood for some good classic horror. They
Yeah,
really do.
it does. Yeah. So my number one is Carrie.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I applaud you. Definitely. It's horrifying. That's a horrifying film.
Ah, Carrie. And Carrie, well, I don't know if I'm sure it's streaming somewhere. I couldn't look that up.
Yeah.
But again, Brian De Palma, he did his thing on that.
Yes, he did.
I really love Carrie. I didn't see her. Okay, let me get my thoughts together here.
Mhm.
We love the underdogs,
Yes, very much
right?
so. Yeah.
And of course, Carrie is the underdog.
Yeah.
And I was young. That came out the year I was born. So,
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
Carrie came out in 76.
Yeah.
And I'm like you, Sissy Spacek did her thing. My mom introduced Carrie to us.
Wow.
But yeah,
That's quite an introduction. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I'm sure she saw it at the movie theater when it came out. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um yeah, but the original Carrie, the 1976 Carrie, I've said this like on other people's on like horror podcasts where I was a guest, and they ask the questions like, what's my favorite, and
Yeah.
I always say Carrie. I said Carrie's my girl.
Yeah.
Like I love. I was like, get them all, Carrie.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's because you don't really see that too much, especially now
Right.
where um the star of the movie is normally trying to survive,
Yes. Yes.
trying to be the final girl or the final guy in the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
But not this one. It's a little bit different because she was bullied, and
Yeah.
she was the person that we was rooting for her.
Yeah. Yeah. She had
And
it hard at home. She had it hard at
yeah,
home. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, and I love those type of movies that makes me feel for the character, because I
Yeah.
really felt Carrie.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt for her. And again, her crazy mama. Oh my
Yeah.
God! I mean,
Yeah.
just the poor girl just had the worst of it at school,
Exactly.
at home.
At home.
Being
Everywhere.
locked in the closet with a mom. It's
Yes.
just like
And you really feel for her. You do. The character,
no,
the film does a good job of making you really feel for her. And as far as revenge films go, revenge horror, this is second to none,
yeah,
because that's like the biggest payoff, and one of the biggest payoff in film history as far as revenge.
yeah.
So yeah.
So those are our top five. So when when this going to be posted and edited. Like I'm not gonna edit out anything that we say or anything, but I'm just gonna add some things to it. Like,
Yeah,
it's gonna be on this YouTube channel on Monday, but I do want to do like some honorable mentions.
definitely.
Um, I'm surprised you didn't have it either. I know some people like they didn't have it.
You know what? I love Tim Curry's performance. That's probably what stands out for me both the most about it. But I gotta say, Kay, the ending for me of that was I didn't like it.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? When they like beat up a giant spider, I was like, I, I just didn't get it. Yeah.
Right.
Tim Curry's performance, he was the showstopper. I mean,
Bar none.
yeah, yeah.
Bar
He
none.
yeah, so he stole the show. So and then the remake, what did you think about it?
I saw both of them.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
It was some elements that I liked,
Yeah.
but of course, I like the original, the
Yeah.
original mini series that was on TV,
Yeah. Yeah. I remember
terrorizing us as a kid.
it was it's just like if you weren't scared of clowns before that film, you definitely were after. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Right.
So that was
Another honorable mention for me is Creep Show. I love Creep Show.
yes, I love Creep Show. I love
One
Creep
and
Show.
two. I like
Yeah.
two better,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I like one and two.
Yeah, I love Creep Show because it pays like what him and Robert Rodriguez did with the part one. They pay homage to like the old 50s stuff, the old 50s film that they're kind of
Yes.
campy,
Yes.
but they're fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought about putting Creep Show in there, but
I
these other
did
ones,
too.
these
Yeah.
other ones I had to have. So
Yeah. What was another honorable mention for you?
for me, definitely the Night Flyer. Now I know the Night Flyer is probably not popular with many, but I was a real fan of Miguel Ferrer. I really liked him as a character
Hmm.
actor, and so he kind of, for me, shined in this film a little bit. And it's just about dueling reporters. They're like tabloid reporters. He's real rotten in it. But they get this one story about this vampire who flies his plane and he's like terrorizing this town. But I like it because, particularly because Miguel Ferrer, he steals the show. So, as a
Okay.
film, it's probably not as well rounded as the short story that Stephen King wrote. But
Hmm.
as far as performances, I thought it was okay. So that for me, I thought about putting it on there. I watched it the other day just to kind of give myself a refresher. But the list that I've come up with, I'm very happy
You
with.
happy with your list?
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
I can say I have not seen that one.
I know it flew under the radar. It came out back in 90 something, like 98, 90, 97.
Oh.
And you can see it it's actually on YouTube. You can see it on YouTube. It's free on YouTube. But I was a fan of Miguel Ferrer. He's passed a few years ago.
Yeah.
But he was really a good character actor. He always
He
played the
is.
jerk. Yeah, he always played the jerk in every film.
He does. Like in
Yeah.
what, RoboCop?
Oh yeah, definitely. He's known for Robo. So but in this one he was pretty awful, and and he gets it in the end. He really does, because he's a dirty guy, and it's just a good little film. It's an easy watch. It's not, I wouldn't say it's terribly too scary, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of a good narrative of kind of the theme. Well, the lesson in it is he kind of bought into to his own garbage, and so he fell victim to what it was kind of a karma type of a story.
Okay.
He kind of fell victim to kind of what he put out there in the world, and it kind of came back to bite him in the end. So it's a good little
Okay.
story. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Now, two two movies of Stephen King, uh, books turned
Mhm.
into movies that I really didn't care for
Mhm.
are The Children of the Corn and
Absolutely.
Christine.
Yeah.
I did not like
Same here. Yeah. I can't get
A
through them.
Car.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. It's just I didn't like it. I can't even finish them. So yeah.
Now, did you see? I just recently learned
Mhm.
that Stephen King, he actually directed a movie.
Oh really?
He was one and done. He was like, it was like people. It got so much flack. He was like, I'm done. It
Yeah.
was one, and I saw it because I forgot where it's streaming, but it's streaming on one of the. It might be Tubi or something like that.
Mhm.
I think it's called Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, I didn't know he directed that movie. Was terrible.
It was, yeah, it
with
was.
what is it, Emilio Estevez or
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty bad. That's like 80, what, 86 or something? 80.
Something like, yeah, with the
I didn't know he directed
appliances.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't know
he
he directed.
directed it.
Wow, that's yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
said he was one and done. He was like, nope, that's not my ministry.
yeah.
I'm a writer.
Right. Well, at least he tried. I mean, he tried. He's a much better writer though. So
Oh, absolutely,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Directing is a monster. So yeah, he did good.
Yeah.
Does good with the writing. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
All right, y'all. So we want to know, what are your top five Stephen King movies? Put them down in the comments. And again, y'all, don't forget to like this. Don't forget to, if you like movie talk, this channel, my channel is dedicated to movies and television. So I'm gonna do some more stuff over here on this channel as well. So go ahead and subscribe if that's your vibe, and go ahead and share this video if you know you people who loves movies and love Stephen King, and we want you guys to start the conversation, and we want to hear your thoughts as well. So thank you so much, Alex, for joining me
Thank you,
on my
TJ.
premiere
Yes, ma'am.
show.
Thank you so much. This has been a blast.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
really
gonna have to have you back too. So
please
like
anytime.
some other topics. So most
Definitely,
definitely. Yep.
definitely. Thank you
So
so much.
thank you guys. You're welcome. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Again, if you have not liked the video, like it on your way out. Again, it helps when you like content creators or people who makes um, content on the internet. Liking is the free way to support us, and it helps us to be in that algorithm for people who really like in entertainment, like such as this. Okay, so go ahead and hit that like, and again, I'll be back with this. I'm thinking about doing it twice a month, starting up the twice a month, so we
Awesome.
see how that goes.
That
So
sounds great.
thank you guys for spending your night with us. And those of you who are listening on the podcast streaming services like iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, because we stream on all of them, come over on the YouTube and, just check us out. All right. Okay, everybody, thank you and have a great
Have a
night.
good night. We'll see
Don't
you.
click out
All right.
just yet, Alex. All
Okay.
right.
All right.